And Samara, while you're doing all of that, you should also take a look at other trees around the home. They might look healthy, but some trees could be dangerous and you might not even know it. Now, these are called zombie trees, and here is how you can spot them.
Every time we have a hurricane in this area, usually the first 2 or 3 weeks, we get nonstop calls of trees on houses.
Certified arborist and owner of McCullough Tree Service, Shelby McCullough, knows trees.
If any tree would be called a zombie tree, as I've heard the term, it would be this one.
Zombie trees are trees that look healthy, but are quickly dying on the inside.
I would say if this was hanging over your home, wouldn't justify keeping this tree.
When homeowners are analyzing the health of their tree, they might think to start from the top, but really, start at the bottom. First step, check the tree flare.
This one is pretty good, but if you see a tree that goes straight into the ground with no trunk flare, chances are it has a buried trunk flare.
So you want a little bit of like a tree skirt kind of action, right?
Exactly. So what we'll do is we'll pull all the dirt back around there and inspect, and then if we need to address any issues, we can. Sometimes we pull it back and we realize the whole root system is completely decayed.
Gotcha.
The tree's got to go.
Step 2, check the structure.
If you see that your tree has codominant structures like this, where there's 2 trunks that are similar in size, we call that the aspect ratio. That means that the tree has a likelihood of splitting in that place.
What would be your step 3?
Step 3 would be to stand back and take a good look at the crown. And by crown, we mean the canopy. Okay. Usually if a tree starts to decline, it'll start to die back in the very tips. So if you look up there at the very top, you see some dieback.
As we gear up for hurricane season, trimming your trees well ahead of a storm is important, while also making sure you don't over trim. As a plain old Jane homeowner, you'd think, oh, they're just making the tree more aerodynamic.
Right.
So, in case of a storm, it doesn't have all the leaves holding it back. But you're saying
it's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite. And everybody would say, oh, you want the wind to be able to pass through the tree.
You think, right?
You don't want the tree to be like a sail, but it's actually the opposite. If the tree is a sail, it can actually hold up against the wind. And just because your tree might show some red flags, it does not mean it needs to be completely removed. Shelby recommends reaching out to reliable tree companies for help with even extending the lifespan of the tree while also decreasing the risk of collapse.
Candace thinks that's really almost counterintuitive for me with the cutting of the tree.
Yeah, you think a sail versus,
good information there.